What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Stacy the Intuitive. Welcome to episode 1 of my podcast. Our name is currently still in the works, all right? I have a lot of ideas, but I haven't picked one specifically. So if I decide a name before this comes up, it should be in, my little thumbnail that I have for this, the little cover that we have for Stacy the Intuitive's podcast. But if not, then let's just, take a moment to really appreciate this humble beginning. By episode 2, I should have my stuff together a little bit more, but I kind of just wanted to get the ball rolling because I was feeling inspired. This has been a very interesting morning for me, The morning really just started off as something where I was just going through a storm and, I was very much just losing faith, to be quite honest, I wasn't losing faith, but I just didn't see the way forward, I had been very much keeping my faith in my path and God and just everything I've been doing, you know, for the past few months and stuff like that. And it's just I was just feeling tired. I was worn out, And these were the times where I really just needed to be leaning on God when I was feeling that. And 100% I definitely was leaning on God. But, it was just one of those moments where it was the leaning on God that I was doing was just because I was so tired and I was feeling that loss. I was feeling kind of at that place of loss, but it was I didn't not have faith in God. It was just that I was at that place of loss. So I don't know, this episode is very important to me because, in those moments where I feel that it's where God just really comes through for me, because yesterday was kind of a hard day. And then today, I woke up feeling the same emotions and I was just breaking down to God. And I was going to try to go back to bed actually because I woke up around 5 a.m. It's currently 8. And I was going to try to go back to bed, but God just kept me up. God's no, there's something here for you. I know that you're losing faith. I know that you're losing hope. And it wasn't, once again, that I was losing faith in God. It was just that I was losing faith in just everything. It was just, I don't know. I was going through a dark period. And, the nice thing about this path too is I still have dark periods, but they're much shorter. They're much, they're much less existential, right? I might feel like it's existential in the moment. I'm this is gonna be my entire existence. But God is you know what, girl, you've been doing this for a long time and you might have your moments, but you might just go through it for a day or two. But don't lose hope in the fact that you've been doing a lot of work and that this work that you've been doing does have results. Even if it's just the fact that when you go through a storm, it's a little less sustained than it used to be, So that's where I'm at. I held on to my hope. I stayed up. I talked to God and God responded. And here I am right now feeling so much better, feeling inspired, having had one of my prayers answered, which was to, kind of will the healing that I was needing to feel connected to my expression again, feel connected to my creativity, because all the creative things that I've been trying to embark on just had not really, it felt like something was missing, and I kept on trying to will it with God, God, please let your girl feel connected to her work again, feel connected to her purpose again. And lo and behold, that is why I felt so much at the pits of me, because the healing that I needed was at those pits of me. And even though we don't want to go there oftentimes, it's very important to go there because that's where the gems are, And so that's not what the podcast is about today, but I think this is very important because it gets you guys to kind of understand me a little bit better. It gets you to understand my intentions in going into this and where I'm coming from. So, episode 1, we kind of want to get that out there, right? So I just hope that you guys resonate with me. And if you do, then make sure to subscribe to this. I'll have this on several platforms. I'm also feeling very inspired to get some of my writing out there. So that'll be a thing. Just check my links because I have a lot that'll be coming out in this season. This is what I've been awaiting, God is really delivering for me. And so now I can deliver for God, right? So this episode really is about some of the energy that I was feeling this morning. And this is what kind of gave me the inspiring idea, the creative idea. And it was really just about the energy of First of all, let me give a little preface. This is our humble beginning, guys. So, like I said, I don't have the name yet. We have an idea. The name might be here. I'm going to create like my thumbnail and stuff today for this podcast, like the cover page. I have that idea. So, hopefully, I can pick the name 100%. And then I am currently filming in my car this podcast. And, you know, my AirPods are dead. It probably would have been better with the AirPods. But I am filming this in my car, and I have the heat on, and I was going to try to turn it off. But it's literally like 15 degrees where I am right now, 20 degrees, 15 to 20 degrees. And so, you know, we don't want to freeze. But I wanted to get this out there because it was very important that I did just get the ball rolling. And this is my humble beginning. So I'm giving all the love I can to it, right? So, anyway, let's get back to it. This episode is going to be about the challenges of living in this society that really belittles kind of the notion of, you know, mental health as just a general topic, but just the fact of like self-care and, human needs, right? That have to do with our emotional needs, that have to do with our, just like our moods that we go through our day to day, right? This society just sometimes makes us feel like we need to be happy all the time. And that can be such a challenge. And that's really what this is about. It's about the societal expectation to be happy all the time and how that kind of makes me feel. Because one of my biggest things has been feeling misunderstood in this world. And I really think that a lot of people can relate to this. And it really has more to do with societal expectations than the fact that we're truly misunderstood when you think about it. Because this society really puts this pressure on us to show up as our best selves all the time when that's just not what we are. And it takes us away from seeing each other in a very relatable, authentic way. And it can really just break your heart, right? When you feel misunderstood, when you feel like people don't really see you for who you are. But that really just comes from the fact of like, it's not that you're not being who you are on a day-to-day, like that happy version of you is you. That happy version of you is you. That enthused version of you is you. You know, that wanting to show up is you. But at the same time, in needing to be that all the time, in the expectation that you are supposed to be that all the time, we take away from some of those like incredibly beautiful parts of you that other people might not, that the society, I'm not even going to say people because I don't want to blame people. I want to blame society. That society might not see as valuable, which can be those emotions of sadness, which can be those emotions of anger, which could be those emotions of, rage. That can be those emotions of just melancholy or boredom. Like, these are such normal parts of existence, and we don't place emphasis on them enough, and it just makes us feel so alone. That was a part of what I was feeling this morning, because it was like some of the best way that you can truly understand me is by not only seeing like the work that I like, the results of the inner work that I do, right? But also seeing like the process that it takes for me to get to this inner work. It's like people see the pretty versions of me, like the versions of me that come out there and I'm smiling and I'm strong and I give off the vibe that I've healed, but at a level that makes me feel diminished a bit, because like I'm like, oh, people could see me and they're like, oh, she's putting on a facade. Or they could see me, or they could maybe see ulterior motives, or a person who's inauthentic, because of the simple fact that they're not seeing all the levels of me that I have began to cherish so much. Those times where I am sad, those times where I lose faith, those times where I'm just going through it. And those times, those are the energies that I feel are the most authentic. And I don't want to compare those energies to, my high vibe emotions, because they are very different. Polarization is essentially just, opposite ends of the spectrum are one of my favorite YouTubers here, Queen Cup Tarot. She says polarity is identical in nature, just different in degree. So, you could be at the highest vibe and the lowest vibe. Those ends of the spectrum are identical in nature, but just different in degree, right? At any opposing forces that you have. That is what it's about. And how can people see me at that one level without understanding the other level? Then you just don't get the entire spectrum. Without the entire spectrum, it feels watered down or inauthentic. And it just sucks that, like, the society has been built up so much so that we really have to prioritize that end that forces us to show off or showcase that end of the spectrum that really does prioritize the need to be at that higher end of the spectrum, to be high vibe. Even just the nature of how our work society has been created, how our school society has been created. You can't go to school and, be in your crying mood that you might have been in an hour before you sat in that chair. You can't put on that sad face. And yeah, you might, but are people noticing? Are people really, is it really like kind of taboo to go up to that person and be like, why are you sad? Or do we go and we like kind of kiki to our friends a little bit and be like, oh my God, she kind of seems sad today, but we don't go to that person and take it as something that's just normal. And that, like, yeah, I kind of felt that the other day too. And, we do this with some people, but for the most part, in those more quote unquote professional settings or more formal settings, it really is expected of us to put our best face forward, kind of persevere and just do the damn thing, right? But that's not always possible. We can't always just get up and do the damn thing. We deserve to have those days where we don't want to come in because we're feeling bad, and we should be able to come, call in and be like, you know what? I'm not feeling good today. I'm unhappy today. And that is a valid enough reasoning, because we should all normalize these things in the sense that we know what it feels like to be there. It should be normalized to be in that place. It should be normalized to feel how we feel. It should be normalized that those opposite ends of the spectrum are a necessary part of an authentic being. It doesn't make sense, in my opinion, that we prioritize one end over the other, which just happens to be the lighter end, the more high vibe end. And it just really is imprinted in our society, because even in just the culture that we're not supposed to call off, when it is very real that we might need to call off because we're sad. It is very real that we might need to not go to class because we're sad. It is very real that the personas that we're being forced to put on every day should not be sustainable. Like, I don't, this is just what I was feeling this morning. Like, when I was in that very sad place, luckily I'm feeling so much better right now, but I was just so down in the depths, and I had already missed class last week. So it was like, it's now inexcusable for me to miss again, even though I'm feeling, incredibly down right now. And I just wish it was normalized for me to feel this way so that I just didn't have to go. It sucks that this is our society, guys. It sucks that this is our culture. And what I just want us all to do is normalize those emotions for ourselves, normalize those emotions for other people. We need to like really anchor in that vibration where it is so acceptable for the people around us, for our peers, for our coworkers to be going through it and not want to be here. We really take the implementations that have been impressed onto us by the societal structures, by the people that we deem in power, but we need to be empowering each other, right? By normalizing these things amongst each other so that the societal structures can start conforming to us. And that's really just how I see it, because it's unfair, 100% unfair, right? And it also is unfair, like the pressure that comes onto us due to these societal structures, guys. Like, let me tell you, like, there are people in my life that I would like to see me in my most authentic light, but they don't get to see me in my most authentic light because it's not normalized for me to, just come to people with those lower end of the spectrum emotions or whatever it may be, even in the middle, where I'm not high vibe and I'm not low vibe, but I'm just there. I'm just in the middle, and I don't have anything to really offer. I'm just there. And sometimes you want to share that with people. Sometimes you want to just be able to just full on, just bare your whole chest out there, but you don't feel like you can, right? And then it gives you this vibe of like, you might feel like people are seeing you from this inauthentic lens, and that's so much pressure. It makes you feel even worse, guys. It made me feel even worse because a lot of the burden that I was feeling earlier was like, oh, like and the feeling that I was feeling was probably illusory, right? It really just had to do with the need for this message to get through to me. But let me just paint the picture of the illusion. Someone I care about, me thinking like, oh, like this person probably feels like they don't even know me. And that just felt very burdensome. It didn't feel good to me. I was like, dang, this person probably doesn't even feel like they truly know me. And it's really just because like they don't get to experience like these very real and raw levels of me, because it's not very normalized for me to just go and bare my whole chest. It's not normalized. And in our interpersonal relationships, we should feel comfortable. That's what we should be building up to. But at the same time, it's like, even in any other expression that they may see of me, you know, um, it might feel like they're just getting that single end of the spectrum and what I'm putting on my social medias or what I'm putting out there. And I don't want those people to only see one version of me, because that's not who I am. And there's more to me, but it's not just about like those happy parts. It's not just about what I've done. It's the moments that I have in between, right? And I think about it so much so that like, maybe we meet in group settings, or maybe you meet people in group settings and like it's expected of you to be happy or whatever, or it might just, I don't know. The real thing about it to me is like that inauthenticity that comes across from this high vibe mentality that we put on. But at the same time, it feels expected, that it feels abnormal to go to those other ends and to just be that, right? But it also takes you away from this deeper level of connection with others, because you can feel so lonely or so isolated. And those people that you're wanting to bring these deeper levels of authenticity to, they might feel isolated or lonely because they can't bring that to you. But at the same time, both of you or all of you are having these moments where you're just like, oh my God, I just wish that it felt more authentic between us. I just wish that we could have this experience more so. And that's burdensome. You and your peers and the people around you, you can all feel that burden, but it's just so hard for us to break through that barrier because, like we talk about this world, it's smoke and mirrors, and sometimes it's very hard for us to get through that smoke. It's very hard for us to, see through it. Imagine you're like in a burning building, right? You're in a burning building. The structure is already collapsed. And think of the structure as the societal structure, the expectation. The structure is already collapsing, right? But you expect me to get on the ground and have a wet rag over my mouth so that I can get through all the smoke. But I'm already scared that the structure is collapsing. I'm already worried about the structure and how the structure might crush me. And, yeah, there might be someone else in that building with me and I want to get to them. But it's like, I'm struggling to even see through the smoke enough to see you or to see my way out. And it's just like that type of challenge. You know what I mean? So like, that's where we're at, guys. We are all in this burning freaking building. We want to get to our friends to save them too, but we need to figure out our way, our escape path, because how are we going to save our friend? We can get to our friend, we can be in the mirror too, like, oh my God, they didn't even save me or whatever. We can be in the smoke together, but one of us needs an escape route. Or one of us needs to take the initiative and being like, we need to find an escape. We need to empower each other enough to find an escape, right? So that's where I'm at right now, guys. I'm trying to find that escape for me and all my friends. I'm trying to find that escape for me and all the people that I feel the societal structure has taken me away from that real authentic experience with, because that's what I was really feeling, just that inauthenticity, that and it's not that I'm inauthentic, right? But it's that I've been rejecting expressing parts of myself. And this podcast feels really good. These things that I'm doing, that I'm about to implement, feel really good. This is what God was getting me, like this purpose, this sense of purpose for, right? So that I could come to this level of feeling like I have a place to express my authenticity and for that to be what it's really about. So as you guys listen to this podcast, just know that's my intention, to have a platform to just be my most authentic self, the good, the bad, the ugly, in the middle, the random, that's what we want. So I don't want to be in a world where I feel like me or the people around me have to water themselves down, have to present any level of them that they feel is acceptable, because that's not fair. It actually enrages me quite a bit. I hate the idea that we have to get up and go to class when we could literally have just been crying an hour ago, and we are expected to, be in people's face in a somewhat normal light and do a test. Like that's messed up. And it's okay for us to feel like that's messed up. Keep that in mind right now. It's okay for us to feel like that's messed up. It's okay for us to be enraged about it. It's okay for us to have these discussions with others about how sucky it is. And it's okay for us to do everything we can to implement change, even though it seems like there is no way. Because keep in mind, guys, the building is burning, okay? The feeling that we're feeling, the enragement that we're feeling, is just letting us know the building is burning the F down, okay? And we're going to let it burn down, but keep in mind that we're going to have our escape routes, and we're going to find those escape routes together. Some of us have a pathway, and the pathway that we know can help our other people to implement their knowledge about a pathway, because maybe one of us knows, oh, there's a staircase that leads to the exit on the second floor, but I don't know how to get to the second floor. And we get to the second floor, and someone else has the knowledge enough to know, you know what? I worked at a building somewhat like this, and I feel like the structure might be kind of the same. I didn't realize that this stairwell would be kind of similar to what I had known, but let me apply that now. We're getting out of this building, guys, this crashing ass building that we call our societal structure, that hasn't been built on anything that is really an accurate reflection of who we truly are, that has riddled us in, lacking fairness, lacking the justice that we so deserve, right? So that's where I'm at today. I get to breathe a little bit more deeply, right? Because I got to the staircase and I'm no longer in the part that's extremely smoky, and I want you guys to be in the staircase with me, right? So, the building is still crashing though. The building's still burning though. So don't forget, we need to find our way out. But I can breathe a little bit better today, knowing that I got somebody brought me a wet rag to cover my mouth as I get out of here. And, we're getting our way out. So, yeah, this morning, though, I was in the burning building. I was full on, about to faint because I didn't see the way out. But, we're seeing the way out. I really hope that you guys enjoy this podcast. I really hope that, you guys will continue to be here with me. We're kind of going to segue off that topic a little bit into the ending. But the closing message that I have is like the vibe that I got for this, what I really felt, what I want you guys to feel. If you can place yourself in kind of like the vibe that I'm feeling when I imagine this podcast and what it's to be for you guys. Also consider your own what this feels like for you. But for me, it just reminds me of when I was a child, right? And me and my family, like my mom would get me and my brother up early in the morning, right, before she would go to work, and she would get us ready, and we would be getting ready to go to our babysitter's house, and we would get in the car, or we'd be in my dad's car. My parents are back together now, but when they were split up for a little bit, it would be in my dad's car. My dad would take us, maybe on a Sunday back home, and he'd get us ready to take us home and stuff to my mom's house, or when we were going to the babysitter or whatever. But there was always this moment where we would get in the car. My mom would play her gospel music and stuff like that. But she might play a little podcast or something like that. But my dad, he would play his little Sway in the Morning or something like that. And that's what I really think about. Or he might take us to the babysitter too, because it was like a thing that we would do. Like maybe on Sunday, he would take us on Monday to the babysitter. But I would think about that ride while we're listening to it. And I mean, it's just like that childlike, you're ready for the day. You're not a care in the world. You just hear the little podcast, and that's just what it makes me think of. It was a very special time for me. It's just like those careless moments that you just remember. I just saw a cardinal, just saw some cardinals. So, let's just take the energy of the cardinal with us, that loyal vibe that we have to ourselves, those vibes of freedom, that free flowing energy. Cardinals mate for life. And just keep in mind that us all as, multidimensional beings on this earth, we come from the same source, and that we are mated for life, y'all. We go through this existence together. We come into this world together. We'll go out of it together. And this world will end with all of us together, returning back to our source. So keep in mind that any structural foundations that have been created in place of this place that is our earth, our home, right? Right now, this is our home right now. And we've come here together. We cannot let the structures in place take us away from the understanding that this is our home that we share together. This is our home, guys. The structures are the things that are passing through, right? But this home will forever have, imprints of us, even when these structures come crashing down, right? We are the eternal beings that, will have impressed this earth in such a way, right? So know your impact, right? Consider all of that today. And just thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting me. I feel very proud of this first episode. It feels very authentic, and I can't wait to get it up. Remember, these are our humble beginnings, and this progress, this podcast will continue to progress as we, implement some of those more foundational aspects of it, such as our thumbnail. We might have that already. We don't know yet. The thumbnail, I'll have a little nice intro. We'll have the name solidified. We'll have the AirPods on. Just keep that all in mind, guys. I thank you guys so much for supporting my humble beginnings. I send you my love. Have a very blessed and wonderful day. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.